Hey everybody, welcome to the first installment of a brand new series on the channel called Pistols of the World, kind of piggybacking off of the Rifles of the World series. We're going to be going over some different handguns because these obviously serve just alongside the rifles, so why not give them some credit where credit's due. We'll be going over the same kind of things. I'll just give you a brief rundown on it, not an in-depth, like, intricate pieces, who designed this on what day and what year, but just kind of an overview and my experience with them or lack thereof, if that applies. So, all that aside, let's get started. Today we've got the Czechoslovakian Vz52, or better known as the Cz.52 pistol. The correct designation is VZ. It's the Czech word that means model. I don't know if I'm going to pronounce it right, but Zor, it's VZOR. And that just, you know, the reason they call it the Cz.52 is because the Vz52 rifle was imported before this pistol, and they all thought that they were getting more rifles and stuff and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, that happened while they were being imported. The correct term is the Vz52 pistol. So this is a really neat design. I kind of like it. It's really unique. I've actually never seen another handgun quite like it, other than probably the Vz50, which is this is kind of based off of, but that's for another video if I ever get one. So anyway, in the early days of this, the Czechoslovakian military was gonna chamber this in 9mm NATO, or 9x19, and because of pressure from the Soviet government officials overlooking the country, they were forced to kind of redesign this weapon in 7.62 by 25mm Tokarev. Just like most weapons in Soviet bloc countries, they could design their own weapons, but they still had to use Soviet ammunition, so the Soviets could supply them. And so therefore you have the pistol in 7.62 by 25 instead of 9mm, which actually would be really cool if it was originally designed like that. But we can't go back and change history, so it is what it is. So these things are pretty cool. They're not really super heavy compared to some military surplus pistols. The one thing that's kind of weird you'll notice is the grip is really long and skinny. So it's not that wide. It's about it's probably about as wide as a Tokarev. But the grip itself is really long this way. I have big hands even, and this is a very strange grip. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It just takes some getting used to. So you can see that the original finish on these was kind of a parkerized oxide finish. I don't know exactly the correct nomenclature, but that's what I've gotten. The grips were Bakelite, and you can see that the left one, for whatever reason, is kind of scuffed up, but I don't care. It's fine by me. I just won this at an auction recently. Used to have one and then had to get rid of it when times got tough a few years ago, and just kind of wanted one as an example because I didn't necessarily have a huge problem with it. It was one of those guns that could go. And I'm kind of glad I did that because you can see the serial numbers match on that part, 4709. And then you've got on the barrel, see that? Sorry, yeah, 4709. And then on the top, 4709. So that's pretty cool. I don't think my other one matched, and it was blued later on in the 70s. So, and what's really cool about this is actually a very early Cz.52 pistol. 1953, you can see right there with the cross daggers or cross swords, whatever you want to call them. I call them cross daggers because they don't look like they're long enough to be swords. But yeah, that's just the Czechoslovakian military acceptance mark. Sorry about the blurriness, guys. This thing doesn't want to zoom properly right now. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting thing, and then it looks like some rework markings and such. But what's really cool about this is the fact that it's a direct blowback operated pistol, but it operates on a roller lock system, which I'll show you in a second. Don't want to get this video taken down or whatever, so I'm not going to go into a total disassembly. I'm just going to explain it from the outside because I don't want the people that oversee this and the powers that be to get rid of this video for you guys. So anyway, inside, it's just pretty much like a normal pistol. It comes apart. You can pull these little things down and the slide comes off. But again, I can't do that anymore on YouTube, so won't be taking this apart today. But I can pull the slide back, I suppose. There we go. It doesn't take much. And one thing, just to make sure it's clear, there's a magazine in there, but it's clear. So one thing that's really kind of odd about this pistol is it doesn't have a slide release. The slide release is literally just loading a new magazine in and pulling it back. Now, what happens on this particular pistol is when if I drop the magazine a little bit, the slide will go forward. So, in essence, the magazine release is right there. It's kind of like a Walther style, or European style, where you push back on it and it releases the mag. It's an 8-round magazine. As you can see right here, here's one that's loaded. I'm not going to be putting it in the weapon, don't worry. And So it's an 8-round magazine. All the repro magazines I've ever used for these suck unless they've improved in the past couple of years. But these are original. You can tell they're parkerized as well. See, the finish is almost the same. So yeah, you can tell the original ones are parkerized and they actually just work a lot better. They feed well and everything. I wouldn't recommend dry firing this, and I usually don't care about that stuff, but the fact that I had a friend, or I have a friend who had one of these, and he liked to dry fire stuff, and then when he went out to the range, he used it a few times and found out it wasn't working because the firing pins, which are made of cast steel, ended up breaking. So the firing pin broke. You can get them, they're replaceable and stuff, but it's still just a matter of like, that's another thing you got to do, you know? So don't dry fire these if you have one of them. Just drop the hammer like that. Safety is located there, which disengages the sear and won't allow the hammer to come down. Would not recommend this for concealed carry, totally. There are worse options, but there are also much better options. I just like the overall shape of this thing and just kind of the unique history behind it. I'm kind of show you the sights, if you can see that. They're pretty low profile, which is pretty cool for people like me that like low profile sights. But yeah, couple gripes I have about it are just the fact that there's no slide release really, and the handle's a little bit kind of wide. But yeah, and the firing pins are finicky, but just don't dry fire it. So anyway, these were used from 1952 to 1982 when they were replaced by one of my favorites, the Czechoslovakian Vz52 pistol. And so these things served quite a long time. I think they were exported to quite a few countries, but I don't know them off the top of my head, so I won't give you information that I'm not sure about. These are really common. They're getting more expensive in the U.S., I think just because they're collectible now. And obviously they haven't made them since the early 80s, so you'd be hard-pressed to get one of these on the primary market anymore, much less the secondary, unfortunately. But yeah, no, I just have one as an example. A long time ago, for all you people that have been with me since the very beginning, a few years ago, I had a couple videos on my old ones shooting it and stuff, and they were just so like awful quality, I ended up taking them down at one point. So I'll end up this summer, I'll be making videos with this and kind of show you what it's capable of. They're pretty accurate. The last one I had was very accurate. And we'll see how this one goes. The bore looks pretty good on this one. So they're pretty high hopes for it. So yeah, a nice Eastern Bloc. Well, kind of Eastern Bloc, technically Eastern Bloc, but Czechoslovakia was kind of more Western than most since they were geographically located more west and kind of culturally. And yeah, a lot of people call this a Czech pistol. It's actually not. It's a Czechoslovakian because Czechoslovakia broke up in 1993, so everything thereafter that's Czech, it's correct to call it Czech, but this is technically a Czechoslovakian pistol. So yeah, I think that's all I've really got. It's kind of a cool piece. Yeah, it's pretty smooth operating and stuff, so that's pretty cool. If you like these guns, these can be had right now as I'm making this in March of 2018, about $350, possibly $400 for a nicer one. I obviously got lucky at an auction and won this for less than that, but I still paid almost retail. Pretty cool little guns, and unfortunately I can't take this apart. Again, it kind of pisses me off because I like just showing basic disassembly because this is really easy to take apart and put back together. But you know how that goes. So, not my decision, but it's my decision to not have my video taken down so you guys can still kind of check this out and be able to identify this if you walk into a pawn shop or something and kind of know what the normal price is. These are Curio and Relic eligible, of course, since they were made from the 50s onwards, so it's pretty cool. You can get one of these with a CNR license. Magazines, original magazines are kind of hard to come by, so that kind of sucks. But they are worth the money because they work very slick. I mean, you should only need a few for this because it's not like you're going to be going out shooting a 3-gun competition with it. And I'll have those people that go, yes, I am, just to spite me. Go for it. Absolutely. I'd love to see that. But anyway, just get a couple mags, 1 or 2, and go out to the range and have some fun. But yeah, so that's really all I've got on this thing. Sorry I haven't made videos in a while again. I know I say this a lot. There's just videos are going to have to come in spurts now until summertime when I'm able to free up some more time and go out to the range and do a little bit of blasting at paper. So if you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed yet, you should do that. It'd be really cool. Just smash that subscribe button and become a supporter on Patreon since, without getting into it too much, it's pretty widely known that YouTube doesn't really like firearm-related channels at all, even though that's only about half of my content. So if you become a supporter on Patreon, it helps me fund the channel. It really does. Most of it's self-funded, but it really helps if I can get some crowdfunding going. So just go ahead and do that. $1 a month buys you in, and it's really cool. Unfortunately, it's come to that, but it is what it is. Not my choice either. I'd rather just make videos and you know, not get screwed with, but times are a-changing. Anyway, all that aside, thanks for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it, and I'll try to get some more content out pretty soon, so stay tuned for that. We'll see you on the next video, guys. Hopefully the beginning of this series means got a lot of videos ahead of me for this series, so that'll be a good thing. All right, later, guys.